Hey, welcome, guys. This is going to be an interesting episode. We are going to handle in this specific episode. We are going to do differently compared to how we had been doing it the tutorials earlier, where I was more giving the knowledge or at least sharing the knowledge which I was having on some of these stacks. But this one is a little different and challenging in the sense I'm going to use generative AI to a complete good extent, to a good extent ideally, because I want to really understand the potential of this. I have already used it. It's not that the first time I'm using it. I'm comfortable using it, and I've also built some of these web solutions, but around React and Express.js recently. But then that was a little more of a comfort zone for me. But then I am coming back to, let's say, a couple of stacks which are at least one of it is alien to me. Not alien, but at least it's new to me, which is VueJS, and I'm going to use Laravel, which anyway I was comfortable some time back, but then I'm going to combine both of it and then going to use it to build a web solution, which is going to be revamping my Let's Code VC website, which I already have. If you want to see, it looks something like this currently, but I totally want to redo it in a way it reflects more like a learning platform than representing my personal blogs and everything. So that's where I want to take it forward, and I think whatever I'm going to reference to do it is I already see it in Dribble. This is what I'm looking at. I think it's built by someone, Rajia in Dribble. I'm going to use this as an influence, or at least as a reference, and then use this detail or at least this design to build this. So that's what I'm going to do. More or less, I'm okay with what I see here. Maybe I'll tweak it based on what I need. But then, yeah, this is where our journey is going to start. I'm going to use ChatGPT, which is a generative AI tool I'm using. I'm using a paid version right now. And then I'm going to use, starting with a complete new journey, starting with ChatGPT 4, which is $20 per month subscription I have, is what I'm going to use. I think even if you are building at your end, I think it's good enough to even use 3.5. I'm not sure, but then again, it's not updated, but still you'll be able to build something from the grounds up. Then it'll give you at least a boilerplate to start with, right? So that's the whole idea here, that we are not starting completely from scratch where there is a huge learning curve involved, right? So the course, at least this episode, I don't know how many are there going to be, because this is more of a tryout where I want to really understand how much I can leverage and then completely use ChatGPT to build the whole of the solution. I was successful earlier, but it took me like a couple of weeks to build something which was not so bad, at least because I felt it I did not have to do much of knowledge upskilling myself, but I was just using whatever was coming back as a response from ChatGPT itself to let's say build the whole solution. So I think I don't want to stretch this introduction too far, but the whole idea is to build a solution using ChatGPT. I will be acting more as a product manager or a product owner here, where I know what I need to build. Let's say in this case, I want to build an e-learning solution, and then I'm going to reference this one, which is more of an inspiration for me to use, and then I'm going to give this as an input for ChatGPT to get started, right? So I am not going to be more of a developer here, but yeah, I am comfortable developing it, but then I'm going to act at least take both the roles, like as a product manager as well as a developer, where I'll be able to build it myself along with ChatGPT acting as my peer developer, right? That's the whole idea. Let's then get on with it. So let's maybe look at the screen a little bit and see how it looks like. This is how it is going to look like. It has some of the sections. This is going to be replaced with Let's Go EC. Maybe I'll have the about section, courses, blogs. I don't know whether I need the reviews or instructions sections. These sections are not relevant for me. Maybe I'll have a sign in and register to start with. Maybe because it's going to be an open community where you don't need to really add to cart or anything, but we can maybe not have this, and then we can have an universal search here where you can search for any content, whether it be blog or courses or anything, right? That's what I'm going to keep, maybe. And maybe something I'll replace this, what do you call this, the hero section or something. This section I'm going to replace with whatever I find as something relevant for my site, but more of these sections will remain but I don't want this become an instruction or something, but get started can lead the user to maybe the e-learning section or something. Some images I'm going to use, and then I am going to build it using some of the stock images which might be available. So we can look at I think Splash. There are some of the websites which are available where you can use those their images royalty free, right? So with some attribution mentioned about the contributions that they have done. So that's what we can use. But then I'm going to have more of it, like we can start with replicating most of these sections, and then start defining the backend to how you're going to load these all of these sections. You might not have all of these like add to cart and everything, and there is no pricing as such. So I'm just going to build something which is more available from my channel itself, right? So I'm just going to use all of those images and everything. Training courses, yeah, we can have it. Get to know about us. Maybe it's more about me and the channel. Then I might have some section included here. So I am completely going to use this whole image as an input to ChatGPT and then ask it to generate the different sections or components. I more know about React to a great extent right now, so that's the reason I'm saying it as components. But in the Vue sense, it might be different. It could be let's see what ChatGPT tells us as and when we start doing this, right? I'm going to ask it what is going to be the structure that I need to follow, best practices, even how let's say Vue and Laravel can coexist together. What is the best way that we can do it? All of that we will ask ChatGPT to maybe generate, right? So that with this background, maybe let's go back to, this is my coding screen, and I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. This is where I want to start. As a first prompt, I am going to start asking ChatGPT to give me the first steps to start at least generating this code base, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask as a first prompt, let's ask it to give me, I am planning to build an e-learning platform. So this is more where you're giving it the context of what you're trying to do, based on which it is going to respond back, right? The better the context, the relevant will be the response coming from ChatGPT or any let's say generative AI tool. That's how it works, right? That's to an extent it's called, I think, the prompt engineering, but I'm not too much a specialist there yet, because I'm just using prompt, at least prompting it based on giving it more and more context. But I think I'm more closer to what they call as the prompt engineering asset, but maybe I still need to learn more in at least bettering myself there, right? So I'm planning to build an e-learning website. Maybe I'll call it a website, which is to replace my content in my existing domain, which is let's code easy.com. Then maybe I'll just start with asking, I am planning to build this solution using VueJS and Laravel. I want to follow the best practices, maybe. I want to follow the best practices in this industry to build this solution. But my deployment is going to be in GoDaddy, so that's where my domain is existing. So I don't want to spend any effort in doing this in AWS. I have done it in AWS earlier for one of the other solutions which I was building. I was completely relying on ChatGPT to help me even on deployment, using all the GitHub actions, setting up my Terraform, setting up CloudFront and everything, right? Even Route 53, all of it. It took me through that journey and helped me deploy, but it was not so easy because there were some hurdles where I had to go back to Google again to understand, because somewhere it could not consolidate all the information which I was looking for. So there were some challenges, but at least to an extent of, let's say, 80%, it did meet my expectation. So I'm hoping that we don't have much hurdles when you're building it, right? So let's continue. I've just given enough context here. So I'm just going to ask right now, can you help me set up the initial code base? Also show me the project structure I need to follow. So this is where I am. I'm starting with the basic prompt, giving enough context for us to get started, right? So it's going to just give me something basics to start with. When I might just start with asking it more when I'll share the design I want to follow and everything. But let's at least start with something where it generates. Okay, let me copy it. I think it's timed out with the same prompt which I had copy pasted so that we did not lose it. So this is my context. Let's ask. I think the server is a little slow, but yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so it's already giving me some inputs of how we get started, which is building an e-learning website using VueJS and Laravel is a great choice, as both are modern and powerful technologies. Here are the steps to set up initial code base with the recommended project structure. It's already giving me a project structure here, right? So which at least I'm familiar with some of it, like HTTP controllers, middleware, models, database migration, seeders. These are all based on the older approach we used to follow. So it's also generating the routes. So this is more of creating a not too complex kind of a structure. It is not where you have two different applications for, let's say, the backend and the front end. It's all combined together, because I think that will be enough for me to start, because I don't want to make it too complicated. I am okay to have the views and the controllers defined, and then I consume it and then build my whole front end, right? So VueJS is the only additional thing which I have never worked with earlier, but I know its existence, so I'm going to use that. So it has given me some of the information already to get started, right? So I need to have PHP for Laravel, yeah, which I already have. Node.js, yes. VueJS uses Node, which is a little tricky now when I see it. Maybe if we migrate it, if it's going to use the latest version of Node, then I'm in trouble, because if I try to maybe then deploy it in GoDaddy, GoDaddy has a very older version of Node which they use if it's a shared deployment, right? So they are at somewhere around Node.js 8 or something, which is very old. Maybe, let's see, once we start deploying it, we'll get to know the issues there. If that is the case, maybe I'll have to go and do it in AWS. So let's go through this journey and see if it happens or not, right? So let's get started here. Maybe we can even park the deployment side and then just focus on building this first thing. So Node.js Composer, that's fine, and npm, I think these are already there in my machine. If you are trying out, you might have to even ask and prompt how can you do all of these, right? I think if you're on a Mac machine, it's possible that you can do it, all of it, using Homebrew, which is a tool, a dependency management tool, which you can use to install your softwares on your device, on your machine, right? So I think let's get started with building the first part. I think we need to install Laravel project first thing. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be this command. Let me open my terminal before that. So let's start with the first part, which is to go to my work folder. Git. I'm going to be in the Git folder. There are already some projects there, and maybe I'll make a folder for Let's Code Easy. Here, it's not existing. Let's Code Easy. Yeah, so here is where I'm gonna add this project. Composer, I think you should have Composer installed. If you don't have it, then it's not going to work. I'm hoping that I have Composer already installed, because I use it a lot, used to use it a lot. Preferred distribution, Laravel, Let's Code Easy. Let's try this. Yeah, so I had Composer, so it's going to use that and download all the dependencies which is needed to build this project, right? So the first part at least is done. I don't know what all new things have happened with Laravel. Recently, I've not been working on Laravel. Mostly, I was more focused around other tech stacks recently, so I'm not sure. But it has already given me something to start with, so I think we can go to this folder. Let's see what's there inside. I should have named it better. I should not have created a folder inside a folder. Maybe I'll do one thing. I'll just move it outside. So work Git. Let's Code Easy. Yeah, it's better to move this outside. I think it's going to rename it. Oh, Let's Code. Okay, the name itself was wrong. So move this. I might rename this. Let's Code Easy. Yeah. And this is my project structure. Maybe let's open it in code. Yeah, cd Let's Code Easy, then opening it in code. Yeah, I guess this is what we needed. I think we just plus was good enough. Let's work with this. So it's big enough now to have a look. So it has generated some bit of stuff already. Let's go back and ask for more. So structure wise, I think it's the structure like how we see it. There is an app folder. Within that we have the HTTP, we have the models, we have the resources. It's a basic structure which it is pointing to. I think let's go to the package.json. It's using white, which is good, which is the package manager. So they have I think in terms of the structuring, there is not much of a problem here. Only thing I'm just wondering whether where is the name of my project, which is it? Maybe we'll come back there later. I think it's here. Type project, Laravel keywords, skeleton of the project. Okay, let's not worry about this one yet, and then let's see whatever is generated is working or not. So we have the configure your environment file with your database and other settings. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that, but at least let's run and see whether things are working or not. Migration and seeders, which is there. Yeah, once we reach there, we'll do all of that. Then integrate VueJS inside your Laravel project. You can use Laravel Mix, which provides a clean, fluent API for defining basic webpack build steps for your application. Install Vue, run npm install Vue. Let's do that. I don't know where and how it's going to get used, but let's follow what's already given. So I'm just going to do that. Maybe we can use the terminal of this npm install Vue. So I think it is going to add this to the package JSON. So Vue is also installed. Yeah, so Vue dependency is installed. Now I don't know, we have to run and see. At least we are nowhere in terms of knowing whether everything is as per how we want it. So structure wise, some things are already there. Now I just want to run it and see. So how do I execute and see? Component based, which is good. Laravel MVC architecture using Eloquent. Okay, fine. Optimize. It's giving me some knowledge, but I want to get started with some bit of building things, right? So how do I run this? It's not given me. Final node, build an website is significant projects, important to plan thoroughly. Yeah, that's fine. Scalability, plan for the scaling, testing, performance. Okay, all of that is fine. You will deploy the Laravel application on the server. You can either manually upload the files or the CI/CD pipeline for automated deployment. That we need to see whether it's possible or not. So yeah, npm yarn. How do I run this now? So let's ask. I have followed the steps and set up the project now. Also, the Vue dependency is added. Show me a code, or at least generate me the code to generate the code which shows Vue integrated with Laravel. Also show me how to run and see. It can be a simple hello world to start with. Let's see what it says. So we need to add a component. It's saying within resources.js.components directory, create a new file named hello-world.vue. Okay, that's new and interesting for me. I've never done a Vue project before, so I need to be inside resources.js, and this is the place where I need to add. So this app.js has a dependency to Bootstrap, and then Bootstrap is not the Bootstrap, but this is where everything gets started, I guess. Windows.axios, it has a dependency of Axios added, which is an HTTP library to make API calls. So I think I need to start here. If I need to start something happening, right? So at least it's saying how do I run npm run dev. So at least let's do that and see what happens. Npm run dev. it's using dev white and it's running here. So I think it should give us something here in localhost. No, it's 5173. Local is 5173. Yeah, so this, okay, what it is showing how it is integrated with Laravel is integrated with white. That's it. It is not integrated yet with VueJS. So that's what we are going to do, and then let's see what are the things needed. So PHP Artisan Serve is going to run the Laravel application. If you prefer Yarn, you can also run Yarn. I think I don't have Yarn. Maybe I will be having, but npm run dev is pretty good with me. This is where the JavaScript is compiled. View in browser. It is. Let's also try what is happening with PHP Artisan Serve too. That's where it is running at 8000. So is it just pointing to the same thing? Oh, it's a different one. This is more the Laravel one. The other one was the JS one, right? I'm a little confused right now. So let's read. Compiling your JavaScript. Before you can see your component in action, you need to compile your JavaScript using Laravel Mix. Run the following command in your project root npm run dev. This command compiles. So this is more the compilation step. And finally, start your Laravel application. So the first step that we did was more of a compilation of JavaScript, and then this is the step where the real run is happening. 8000 is where it's going to run. Now let's build this part and see what are the things that we need to do, right? So Vue is getting integrated somewhere over here. We were looking at app.js, which was requiring bootstrap, but there are additional steps which is happening around here. So I'm going to do this creation. I'm going to create a folder called components within JS, new folder, components. Oh no. And then I'm gonna have the new file created, which is I don't know whether it's the right convention. Hello world .vue. So it's a Vue file. Okay, and my VS Code identifies this view. All that I need to do is include this template dev message. I think it's a script. Message is hello world from Vue. Maybe let me call it let's code easy. And I don't know whether it is even identifying the styles or anything, because I think I need to add something to enable Vue extension or something, right? So let's go and okay, it's already saying that do you want to install the Vue. It's good, right? It's already recommending me, and I'm going to install that. It might help me. So this is the first time, like I said, I am going to use Vue, and you can see it's now rendering it correctly. So I think this is how each file is a template block. Each Vue file can contain at most one top level template block. Contents will be extracted and passed on to the Vue compiler DOM, pre-compiled in the JavaScript render functions, and attached to the exported component as its render option. So it's more or less similar to, I think, the render function in how do I compare it with the script? Maybe we can ask later with ChatGPT itself, like how can I compare it with, let's say, React or something, right? So maybe format this. Good enough. So it's within a script tag, export default data, and it's returning. I have not understood what is really happening here. Maybe it should be named in a way that maybe I can ask, why is it not named as hello world? I think it's just regular data. I mean, let's start with this. Let's see what happens here. So it's an h1 with a color. Maybe I would have preferred the styles to be moved to a different file. Maybe let's ask one by one, because I'm just jumping into too many things already. So let's do this part first. So Let's go to the app.js. Oh, there are still more stuff to do. Is it like this is a component, and then I also need to add it within the blade PHP. Okay, so too many things happening. I don't know whether we're doing all the things right. Maybe let's see, is it too complicated? Okay, this is the first part. So window.view require view. So this is where window is adding the dependency of view here. So if I go to app.js, there is only an import here. I'm going to include view dependency over here, and then I'm saying the view component is going to be this. I think it will identify it like we view.component. So we are saying this is a view component, hello world is added, and I'm requiring the components which we just added here, hello world.view, calling it as default. I need to understand further what this default is. I'm not clear, but then again, I'm not too much worried about syntax right now, because maybe in the journey I'll start understanding what's really happening. So const app new view hash app. Okay, maybe there should be an explanation somewhere of really what's really happening. So maybe that explanation might be here somewhere. So we have gone through this. The code defines a simple view component with the data property message, and it is displayed in an h1 tag. Yeah, so this is what it's message. It is shown in an h1 tag, and h1 tag is styled here. So this is the styles section. This is the script section, and this is the template. I think this is where the component, everything will be within a template section. And this is more the data part of which will be given. Like this is where whole of the data part might happen, and that's what is getting bound here. So it's more of a data binding happening here, right? And what's happening really here, register the component. So this is where the registration of the component is happening. View definition, go to the resource JS file, import the registry. Might look like this, view component, use the component in a blade template. So this is more of the registration step. So it is using the view registration, and then it says it's a view component. I don't know what this means. EL app, maybe I'll need to understand more. Let's see. Use the component in a blade template. Next, let's use the component in a Laravel blade template. Blade, to an extent, I have worked some time back. It's been a while, but I think the structure wise it more or less looks the same. So I'm going to directly use this. I'm going to go to the resources view section. I think we already have. There is already a welcome section. Let's use that. And I think this is what start. Thanks for using Laravel blade formatter. Okay, maybe I'll come back and then star you and get up later. This whatever we are seeing here is what is generated in this view right now. So the 4 sections that we are seeing, I think these are what we are seeing. So as soon as you get rid of this, it's going to re-render with what we are going to add. So add the view component in the template like this. Should I just directly get rid of everything and then do it? Yeah, I think so. Take document type HTML, and rest of the things we can just replace. Other header elements, it will come here, but for us it's more to do with this is what they were calling as Laravel mix. Do I need to refresh? Boom, something is not correct. npm install and npm run dev. I think something is messed up. The script app.js is wrong. So what is that we had earlier there? Maybe let's try getting rid of things one by one. Or is it not identifying this now? Maybe I can ask. Okay, there is more information here. has to do with routing. What is missing? I think run the command, following command in your project root npm run dev. I think it's not compiled. That could be one reason. So maybe I'll open one more. Let's replace this again. It's replaced. Let's do the npm run dev. It has compiled well. And then if I do, can I just do a refresh? I don't see anything. Do I need to rerun? PHP artisan serve 8,000. Okay, I don't see anything. So that means hello world. This was supposed to be the component. It did not render. Or did it? Ah, there is something, but it's not visible. Hello world, is it the height or something? $8,000. I don't see anything. Let me go to the hello world message. There is no re-render too. Is it picking up the right color or even applying the colors properly? Maybe let's change and see. No, I don't see anything. Oh, there is an error. Loading failed for the script app.js. So let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, it's saying JS require Laravel mix. Okay, let's read through. What is it saying? The error message you're encountering, loading failed for the script with source, suggests an issue with how your JavaScript assets are being served or referenced in your Laravel application. Here are some steps to troubleshoot. Verify asset compilation. npm run dev to compile your assets in dev version. Yeah, that's fine. App.js path. Error indicates that the browser is trying to load app.js from 5173. I think that's correct because this is where it is. This URL seems unusual unless you have configured it explicitly. Normally it should be loading from a path related to your project's public directory. Check the script tag in your blade template that references app.js. Okay, I think this is script tag in my blade template. Source mix.js. Ensure that the mix function is correctly referencing the compile asset in your project public folder, public directory. Check your webpack.mix. Let's go to webpack.mix. uh, do I have I think where is my webpack.mix? Is it my white config? Yeah, I think this is what it says, but is it make white? This is more white. Okay, this is a little confusing. PHP artisan serve, it should automatically serve assets from the public directory. Where is my mix? Webpack.mix.js. Do I have something like this first place? I don't think I have. I think because I'm using white, right? So I don't have a webpack.js. Oh, that does not seem right. Package.json. Does it need mix then? Very confusing right now. Okay, so the blade template is using it, but is it just that it's not able to find the mix? Let's follow. It's saying Laravel mix is needed, but okay, so there is no reference of mix anywhere. Okay, let's try this. I'm just going to be following whatever it says. And then the next step is to, I don't know which is the Vue version which I install. I think let's just 3.4.14. Yeah, so we can say it's Vue 3. So now mix is done, webpack.mix.js. But if I'm using white, is it not? I am using white. Is webpack required? Yeah, that's what I felt. So this is what is wrong. And it is pointing me to all the things which is already existing. So I don't think it's knowing that these are already done as part of the installation. This is where this issues with maybe the context, even after setting the right context, sometimes does not give me this already done, right? So we are struggling here a bit. Maybe this is what is missing. That's what is not able to. Now it's giving us more inputs of what might be missing, right? So the blade template, you need to use white's helper function to load your JavaScript and CSS asset. Here's an example. And in the scripts, let's not miss this too. The package.json dev is white. I think this is already there if you have seen it. Dev is wide build, so which is fine. And use Vue components, app.js in wide. You can continue using Vue components as you would normally. So I think we ended up installing something which is not needed, which we'll have to remove. We'll do it later. I think Laravel Mix is the one, because I don't know. Let's see. So what was missing from the earlier template? In your Blade template, you need to use White's helper function to load. Okay. This is interesting. Where is this even happening? The White directive helps you include the right scripts. Maybe the choice. Let's see whether the choice that I made to use Laravel and Vue together was the right choice or not. Let's do this. See whether it can navigate me in the right way or not. So this is done. This is okay. Constant Vue components are correctly imported. That's fine. Update Blade template. Is this my, maybe just with this? Okay. With all the above information I shared, generate again the hello world code. Let's see. That's the only way to know, because it has better context right now in terms of what my project structure looks like. Maybe it is going to give me more inputs right now. Maybe. Let's see. I'm hopeful. It's the same one. I don't know what additionally it is going to do right now. So it's saying app.js. Okay, some more bit. It changed the whole thing now. Okay. Am I supposed to do this every time in each one? Okay. That's funny, because in React and all I don't see these kind of code. Maybe I'll have to ask it, what is the best way? Is it that I move it out and then abstract it somewhere? Let's see. But this is not changed. This is the same bit of code. H1 is colored with blue. I think I made it black right now. And then additionally in app.js, I think it is saying, or did it add something more wrong? It's in the same. It's now saying import this, and then more it says create an app. Okay, let's do all of this. So let me do one by one. It's this like import create.vue. I think what is going to happen is app.js had this import bootstrap. I don't know whether that's still needed or not. I'm just gonna keep it. It changed the whole thing. Or is just saying, okay, let's do this. Let's see. Import, which is good. I don't see an error right now. Again, one more import. That is also good. I don't see an error. Create app, components, hello world. Okay, it's mounting within the app section. I think this is what was happening even earlier. The mounting part was missing. Create app, on view, components, hello world, mount app. Okay, let's do this. And additionally, what is happening here is, maybe this is my welcome code. What is, okay, I just did not copy it correct. Just delete this, copy, hello world, white, resources. I did not like this. I think this has to move out. Somewhere this is not making much sense. I don't know whether this is the right way of using it, but let's at least complete this and see. So I'm going to do npm run dev again. Node. Page reload. Did it already do it for us? I don't see anything. It's crashed. Failed to parse source for import analysis because the content contains invalid JS syntax. Install plugin Vue to handle Vue files. Okay, so something is now making sense. So let's ask. Somewhere we are direction taken is to an extent working, but it was a little bit of a struggle because Vue was totally new to me. Yeah, so this is what is now needed to be added. First, make sure that the Vue plugin for white is installed. Run the following command. So now it realizes, at least understand that the whole project which was created using Laravel, it did not realize, I think, that it was built using Vue. That was the first thing. So I had to point it to at least know that it is built using Vue. So that kind of context was never there with it. So I think if you are a pure product manager without a knowledge of technical side, this would have happened. That again, I know to an extent that white is used for package management and everything, so I could point to the right direction to an extent. But I think if, let's say, if it was a pure product manager, he would have struggled. So I don't think these tools are that much mature at this point in time, but still we can use it. Still, it's a good tool if let's say more, it will evolve right now from here, right? Because we started giving enough context, and this thread is to stay, and it is going to understand more and more of what I'm trying to do. It's going to give hopefully better responses going forward. So the initial challenges and hurdles are going to be there, but then as in when it keeps growing or knowing better of the context, it's going to improve, right? So let's do this now. I think I did I install I don't think I installed it, so I need to do this one too. Plugin for Vue for white plugin for Vue. Somewhere I also need to move everything to, is there a concept of TypeScript here? Because everything is a Vue file. I don't know. Let's see. So this is done. Now the Vue plugin is done. What else is needed? I think I still need to point it to the configuration. We have a white.config.js where we have to point the Vue plugin Vue. I think this is what we need to go to, the white config plugin Vue, and then Laravel white plugin is already there, and then I just need to say Vue within the plugin section. Vue, boom, that's it. I think now this should at least solve one. In this configuration, we are importing the Vue plugin from white.js plugin Vue and adding it to the plugins array in the white configuration. That's done. Now ensure that the syntax in, oh, again something changed. No, I think it's everything remains the same. Rebuild. Okay, let's go back and rebuild. I think it should, oh, it's already, node is functional, this is functional. I think it should reflect now. Let's refresh. I don't see a thing, so I think I need to still PHP artisan serve. I still need to do. Nothing yet, so just disappointing. And let me go back to my, so I was hoping the blade would have rendered something, but even okay, at least the title is visible that it is a hello world. Maybe I'll call it as already let's code easy. That should at least reflect. Yeah, that's reflecting. And this is what is not getting rendered right now, which is app.js, and let's figure that out. I think, let's see what is the difference from what was generated. It's a blue color. I don't think that's one reason, because color is not a reason for sure. It's just that it's not rendered yet. Why is it not rendering? Maybe instead of this message, let's add one more thing. Maybe then we might just have something added as an h1. See whether that was good. No, I think the problem is the whole the whole component is not loaded yet, and that could be one reason it's giving an error here, right? So we know there is reference view is not defined. Okay, that's a problem, right? Anonymous app.js 6. App.js 6. I think this is the reason. Maybe this was not needed. And still problems. Oh, okay, no. Is this just because the height is not there? There's no height. No, content is not there. Component provided template option, but runtime compilation is not supported in this build of Vue. Configure your bundler. I think we still have issues. Oh, I did not anticipate this to be such a long one where we are struggling to have a hello world not running, which is surprising. So I think I'll go for this. The warning message you are encountered indicates that the Vue component is trying to use a template, but the Vue build currently is using doesn't support runtime template compilation. This usually occurs when using the runtime only build of Vue, which is smaller and faster, but doesn't include the template compiler. To resolve this issue, you need to configure your white setup to use the full build of Vue that includes a template compiler. Here's how we can do it. It's giving more and more stuff, which is resolve. I need to add a resolve, I guess, which is with the path. Is that the reason? Correctly. So I think it's not compiling the template still. That could be one reason. I don't know. Let's see. Hopeful, because I'm still not clear on what's going on really. I just want to get this up and running as soon as possible so that we don't deal with this configuration stuff anymore. So I also need the path. Path is also given, and I think we need to do an npm install path. So that if you haven't already installed the path module, you can do so by running npm install path. Okay, so path module is also installed. Now let's do an npm run dev. It is restarted hopefully, but let me do one more. Npm run dev, just to be sure that it is compiling. Okay, so Laravel 10.4. Is that one reason that we are having an older version of Laravel? Let's come back to that later. And then PHP artisan serve again, maybe, or is it like thank God. So that was the issue. This is solved right now. At least we got started with setting up this, where now Laravel is working along with Vue and we are using white, right? So all of these are coming together. I did not anticipate this to be a longer one, but then it ended up being a longer one. But then maybe I'll have to come back to at least the basic stuff is running. Now we have to set up all the other things. Let's say using this design, at least the first part of it, we have to at least start doing this thing along with the menu structuring and everything. So let's come back to that sooner enough. But this is the first episode where we just tried. We at least started with understanding how prompting has to start, right? So you understood what are the pain points to start with, where we had to. It did not have the context of how the Laravel project was structured. It just gave us a template to start with, and then it was, at least because I think it's an older version of, still it is using an older history of things, where it is modeled, the ChatGPT I'm talking about. So it did pick up something. based on what it knows on Webpack and everything. But because I knew that White is more more or less similar to Webpack, or better version, faster, I could point it that I'm not going to use Webpack. That was more of a technical knowledge I had to some extent, where I could point it in the right direction, where I could give it some context for it to work with, right? So that helped. Otherwise, it would have been a bigger struggle. So this is where I guess the evolution of generative AI is still ongoing, where it is more of a give and take even now, where it has to still know better. And I think whatever we are doing right now is more of teaching it, right? So that's where the model, whatever data that it is collecting right now, it will use to model itself and then get better. And that's a future anyway. We can't really stop it, where generative AI is going to be more powerful in the coming days, where it is going to know a lot of context about what we are doing, and then it's going to on its own generate whatever is. I will not really have to give so much of context to it, so for it to work with, right? So that's going to happen in the future for sure, but at least at this point in time, I think it's not that smart enough to at least solve our problems end to end. So that's where it's going to be more of a collaborative one. And I think the struggle is still there, but because I did not have much of a knowledge of this specific stack, because I not worked on it, at least Laravel, I not worked maybe last 8 years, maybe the front end at least, or 6 years maybe. So, and Vue is totally new to me, right? And White is an evolution. I've only worked to an extent on White with used it in React project, but not, again, concepts are the same, but then again, not too comfortable. I'm still learning it. So those are the challenges, right? So understanding the tech stack too along the journey, right? You're learning and then building it. I think it's going to be a little smoother going forward, but then this was the first episode where I wanted to at least start with something and then explain how I'm going to use this to build something, right? So this is where we stand. We have an hello world to start, and I think maybe let me remove the other welcome. In real time it should update it as soon as I save it. Yeah, so this is where we are. Hello world from Let's Code Easy. But let's step into the next section in the next episode, where we will venture into more and more, where we'll try to see how we can at least get in with this structure and ask for more and more structuring, best practices, setting up the backend and everything, right? So until the next episode, it's bye from me.